on, everybody? Special edition of The Art and the Artist. I'm your host, LA Phil. I'm here at Matter Studio Gallery in my hometown, Los Angeles. Big thank you to Carla for letting me do this here. Carla's over there, you can't see her, but this is all because of her, all right? We are here for the closing show of Connecting Matter. I'm here with Chris Rocket.
Let's get a round of applause.
Tony Concep. And Mary Harrison isn't here, but she is with us.
Big shout to Mary. Yeah, big shout to Mary. Yeah.
All right, so let's start from the beginning. Names, where you're from, and where you currently reside.
All right, I'm Chris Rocket, originally hailing from Brooklyn, New York, but I've been out in Los Angeles for about 5 years now.
Yeah, I'm Tony Concep. Man, I'm just gonna claim the East Coast, but born in New Orleans and by way of Charleston, South Carolina, Washington D.C., and Brooklyn as well. So.
All right. So, did you guys know from a young age that you had this artistic ability? And about what age did you see it come to fruition? Like, when did it manifest itself?
I go first.
Man, I think on this one, art has always been just part of my math. It was one of the things, man. I was kind of latchkey type of kid, and my mom saw at an early age that the art was one of the things to kind of keep me grounded and keep me busy for a little while. So she wouldn't hesitate to buy markers and pads and stuff to let me get that off. So I was always from an early age influenced by hip hop, right? So it kind of started off drawing on jeans and just making my own clothes or making posters to hang on folks' walls and things like that. So it was just a natural progression from childhood, to this very moment, So I probably discovered it around, 6, 7 years old.
Okay. Oh wow. Oh, long time. Okay.
Same. I feel like I've always made art, but maybe around the same age, around 6 or 7, is when I feel like I got a little recognition for it through like school and competitions and stuff like that, and from there, just swinging in and out of it, trying to get that coverage in school. They try to put you in chorus, and my mom would be happy, like, "Oh, go sing." Man, I'm trying to draw. Looking back at it, I wish I was doing both of them more.
Yeah.
But from there to then just realizing that when I'm not creating, it feels like I'm not breathing. Like if you do it for too long, if you don't do it for too long of a period, you'll start feeling some kind of imbalance in yourself. And it just would start slipping out in different ways. If you don't do it for too long, you're gonna start just folding papers while you're sitting down with your little extra straw paper you just had to throw away. You're folding it into something, twisting every piece of foil into a man or a boat or something. So, but I think for us creatives, it'll come out one way or another. And when we give it the time and space and respect to let it grow, become something more. And that's, I guess, what the artist practice is all about, making some space and time to allow that thing to breathe.
Okay. Okay, well, I got a follow-up question then. It sounds like your family was pretty on board from the beginning. Because I would imagine, for some artists, or a lot of the artists that I talk to, when you tell your family, "Oh, I'm going to be a full-time artist. This is the career I want to have," it's not always met with, the right answer that they want to hear. So when you told, your people around you, "I'm going to be a full-time artist. This is it," how was that received?
You already know. Yeah. When I said moms gave me the markers and the pens, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is like, "Oh man, you gotta get a job, bro." You know what I'm saying? But she had it. Really for me, man, it was like, the family. It wasn't a major factor. It wasn't until I was in high school when I had this art teacher. Bonnie Stabler, man. This lady, she really, was like, you can make a career in art. You can go to art school. I didn't know, I was trying to play ball and, started trying to, figure out, what to do. But, when I found that there was a space for me and I had an opportunity to maybe achieve it some way, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna go to art school." You know what I mean? So, the fam, it wasn't, they didn't really know what it was gonna be, but I did have a supportive, Mom Deuce was supportive.
Okay. So, I've got a question. So, going to art school, do you think that maybe it enhanced? Because I mean, you're going to learn no matter what. But did you ever have an instructor or a teacher that kind of wanted to stifle you because you wanted you to keep it kind of classic, kind of?
Man, I was in school in the Carolinas, man, and just to keep it all the way a buck, I wasn't really. I had an art teacher that was like, "Yo, I don't even want you to come to my class next year." You know what I'm saying? We was cutting up, but I ended up switching schools, and it was divine, it was the Most High, put me in the right place, you know what I'm saying, with this lady that had took interest in me. But going to school, I've always been into like people who really are in love with their craft, right? So I love like Miles Davis or John Coltrane, and Marley, and these guys that like are so into believing into what they do, they become masters at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had a few professors, man, in school, like Rudy Gutierrez. I had my type teacher, man, that, my typography teacher, he'd come to class late because he'd be like, "Oh, I was just looking at this sign, it was so beautiful." And I was like, "Man, this dude really likes this shit." You know what I'm saying? So I've always been into that type of energy, man. And in art school, I did have some pockets of that. And then some of it was just, kind of fight or flight. Like they know that everybody's not going to come out of there and make a career. There's a lot of people that go to art school and got regular 9 to 5 out of it. You know what I mean? But it really has to do with like what your pursuit is, I guess. But I don't believe you got to go to art school to be an artist at all.
Yeah. I agree. So how?
I don't either. 'Cause I ain't going to no art school. I talk that nonsense, but I've actually studied art my whole life.
So, from whether it's museums or in the classroom or, taking it to higher education or like trying to learn the architecture and everything, like take those steps. But the original question was, how did the family respond? I don't feel like they really had a chance to respond. It was like, responding to me having 2 hands and 10 fingers. It's like, it just was what it was. Like, we're here doing this thing. It's like, so you make art and what else? Like, it's what it was. And, for me, I guess in the growing up, just my mother being curious and thirsty to feed our education. She always made sure she put us in programs to help like guide our direction, whether it was entrepreneurial programs or something at the museum to learn how to do something new with this cutting edge technology. So like just interesting things like that helped, I guess, give us an idea, because I think that's what the parents' job is to give the kids the most exposure to see what they like, so that they can make like an educated decision on what they would like to get into for the future. As you keep opening up more doors, more ideas start spawning and spewing in your head. So I think they were all supportive, and they're still all supportive. The family keeps growing. The people behind you gets bigger and bigger. So that's how you're able to do these things.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good to hear. Yeah, because I I interviewed this artist whose parents wanted him to be a surgeon.
Oh yeah.
Like his whole life wanted to be a surgeon.
Yeah.
And he was hiding from his parents. I was like, okay, well, go ahead and do what are they going to do? So he bit the bullet, went ahead and pursued art, and now he's doing fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. It always helps when you have that support. You know what I mean? Because
my mom and daddy have big expectations.
They're like, just do something.
They wasn't trying to solve, bro. Do something, They always, I think they always made us feel like we could do whatever we wanted to.
yeah.
But I didn't have the surgeon pressure. I think we had big dreams already. I wanted to be an astronaut and inventor of such, and I think we do that. So we're out of space with it, and we're creating ideas on the regular.
But man, just to piggyback off of that, man, I think, even in our community in general, like there's a lot of roles, that are really, art is so vast, right? Like there's so many different creative fields to get into. I wasn't even aware of that, you know what I mean? Like I knew there's artists that put their work in galleries and things like that, but there's graphic designers, video editors, filmmakers, photographers, it's so many nuanced little pockets, you know what I mean, of art that, you can connect it to your entrepreneurism, you know what I'm saying? So now, I think that's one of the things now, man, it's like trying to get the youth them to understand that there's a bunch of stuff they can do with the art. I didn't know that really, going into it. I just was like, I'm gonna be an artist, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, like, especially right now, I would say the last year or so, for me at least, seems to have been like an influx of artists, like a mini renaissance, if you will.
Oh yeah.
That it's now it's being looked at on level with the actors, singers.
It's the technology, gotta be, because now you just got access. It's just getting pumped into your phone, like you seen all. I saw somebody make a Tupac portrait out of Oreos.
It's that exposure, man. It's a beautiful time, man. Like the internet, it is a gift and curse, but it's allowed. For me, especially, just to find a bunch of artists, man. Like when the pandemic happened, and I had some things going on in my life, and one of the things that brought me joy was just scrolling Instagram and Twitter and just finding new artists and new art, especially with all the museums closed, So it's great. All right, next question then. All right, so was there a point when you realized, okay, like I hit a next level, like I'm somewhere right now, as far as my art goes, that wasn't seen in the past, and when you realize, okay, I'm on another level right now, did that sort of, I wouldn't say ease your mind, because the life of an artist is not, it's tough, but did you have a moment when you realized, okay, now I've stepped my game up, and there's no going back from here?
I think that moment happens so often. As far as and it comes in two parts. Like when you're either chilling and the idea hits you, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fat, this is gonna be cool, this is gonna be so much fun, to the conception of it. Like me thinking of these flags or something, and then them come to fruition, finally like finishing the last piece and then like bringing them to hang or something, feels like amazing. And it's something I feel like as creatives sometimes we chase, because I remember some of the first times I felt that in my adult life of like, oh man, I just did this new screen print. I just mixed the inks on the shirt a certain way and swiped, and when I lifted it up, it was like Eureka! Oh, wait till the world sees this one. Oh, I got it when I show it, and then you start realizing every time you hit those moments, it's like it's a frequency that you tap into that sometimes as you show it, you start seeing it everywhere else. And it's like you feel like, did I just give up a code? Like everyone's not using my code. But at the same time, it's like we're all on this frequency. Sometimes we over receive this information. And sometimes you ping it out into the universe. Sometimes it drops on you from somewhere else. So you don't know which way it came from, but you arrived at it, and it's because you tapped into that source. And you can kind of start looking around at some point. Start realizing like, oh, we're all on this frequency. Sometimes you hit it a little earlier. Sometimes you hit it a little later. Sometimes you're right on time with the whole symphony. It's just like, you start realizing that in this creative energy, we're all speaking the same language, we're all, and we might have little different accents in it here and there, but
it definitely is one of those feelings, and we all express it in some way or another.
Yeah.
Some people get used to it and they get jaded with it, and they get real sad when it's not showing up. Other people just feel brand new and feel a novelty every time it hits.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in between both of those.
Yeah.
Where like some days it's like awesome, other days it's like eh.
Uh-huh.
And but then there's that part of, I guess, whether it's like a financial validation or the notoriety of people seeing it and being excited about it. That's that like second layer.
Yeah.
That, you know, after you having the personal moments inside
Yeah.
and just getting excited about it, then you put it out and see the world receive it. There's times when it might irritate or annoy you or make you feel a little self-conscious, and there's other times where it just like fuels up your pack. And you're floating to another universe. So it has both of those sections in it.
Okay. All right.
Both of those experiences and that chase.
Yeah.
Word.
Keeps you motivated.
I like what he said too, just about it. It's often, you know, it comes in ebb and flow, like ebb and tide. I guess, you know, you hit these spots where you realize where you're at, and you know, you realize you're living what you kind of you dreamt about or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it could be the first time you get a gallery or the first time you get a compliment from. I had a huge artist, you know, that I admired for a long time, you know, give me, you know, some props on the work or whatever, or I did a show was able to do a show with, you know, a group of artists that I really admired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
it's just many things, you know what I mean? And for me, like, even this moment right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, just sitting in the gallery, you know, surrounded by the beautiful work, you know what I mean? It just puts a plug in the back, knowing like, all right, I'm on that path of continuum, and gives you the motivation to keep going and keep pushing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I like that answer when he said it's a many of things that continue. You know, to
Oh,
have.
that's a good answer. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let me jump to this question then. So you guys have worked with brands. You've been to shows before. Do you remember what it was like when that first brand reached out to you, or that first gallery reached out to you and told you, all right, I want to show your work?
Man, for this one, man, a big moment, man. I did a show at the New Museum in New York, you know, and I was doing a lot of street art at the time. Like, I had literally been in LA, like, riding around at night, stenciling shit, you know, like, just like going from downtown all the way up to Venice Beach, right? And I got a call, and it was an opportunity show at, you know, at the New Museum. It was like Kenny Sharp and Shepard Fairey and you know, a bunch of dope street artists. And at the time, I was just like, man, I can't even believe, like, I tripped into this joint. But you know, yeah, that was, you know, Michelle Obama was at that spot. I mean, so that was a point where I was just like, damn, you know, I might have accidentally figured out how to do this.
Give it up for Michelle Obama.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's, you know, it kind of it harkens back to that last question. My whole thing with this art, man, is like, the Most High is the supreme creator, right?
Yeah.
And we're made in the image of the Most High. You know, says these books, right? So it's kind of like it's endless, you know, trying to master your craft and just not give up on yourself.
Yeah.
But when you hit the moments, you know what I mean? But like he said, if it's embedded and it's something you have to do and have to get out, it's constant. You're just working on trying to master what you're doing. Okay. You know?
It's gonna seep out of your. It's gonna seep out of your thing. You want me to answer that same joint or?
Yeah.
I would say, man, did I just write this down like 2 months ago and then it happened?
Yeah.
It's kind of a feeling.
Big manifestation, yeah.
And it really being like that, I think it was a time when I just got back to America from Japan and like was starting to figure out my own way as far as like what I want to produce while I was on this side. And that just phone calls just coming into me. Like I'm not even like searching for just like a friend calling, hey man, Monster Energy needs this. And they need it for this other company here, so it's like a gift to this person. I was like, wow, I'm like facilitating a whole relationship energy. I'm like the middle guy, getting the shine between it all. I was like, oh, that's cool. And that's not the first time it's happened in that manner, but like I really wrote
it down exactly. Like I want to work for a beverage company, and like a couple of other things as well, and for it to align itself across those spaces and whatever style I was doing at the time is what I like delivered to them.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like because also we're like designers, like so it's like a designer, like a graphic artist. Sometimes you take some of those projects and you just try to deliver to the client exactly what they want, and you take your hand out of it. Yeah. And at the time I was literally drawing hands, and I put hands on the piece. So like it felt good to do all of that, because sometimes I felt like once you're in both of those spaces, when people come to you for art, you kind of get rid of your voice and you just try to let theirs shine, which is your job in certain ways. But for me as a creative, even down to when I was on graphics and stuff, I remember selling like my first logo, and I was on those things, and it felt good to do that. And also, as I kept doing it, start figuring out ways and like to speak towards my body of work, so that everything I worked on, every client I took
dropping your language and putting your language on everything.
They stayed in between it, so like it was allowing me to keep that staple, so that anytime people see my work, it's like I could. Or if someone came to me and asked for something, I could like reference the work, like, oh, check out what I do. Right. And if you like it, then maybe I could do something for you. Because before I reached that place, I would work with a lot of people and sometimes waste a lot of time because they didn't necessarily like my style. And it's like they were trying to push me to do another style. I was like, oh, I got a homeboy that does that. Call him.
Your language.
It's like,
you got your language out.
Look it up. Like, this is what I do. And like, it's okay. Like I started realizing like, it's okay if I don't fit your bill. And that was one of those things I kind of was really happy to, I guess once I made my intention in life to be able to stay in my zone with the creative endeavors and collaborative projects I did, to be able to feel confident in it. That it was like, oh, well, can you do it like Kenny Scarf? Or can you do it like it's like, well, if you like this style like what Tony got, I'm gonna say, yo, Tony, they like your style. Like, I think you might be able to mess with them. And I'll be okay with that, because be able to pass it around, because it comes back, it comes in a circle, So if I pass up, something else will come my way, whether it's from him or someone else.
So what's important out there, kids, write it down. You know what I'm saying? Because he's big manifesting right there.
Write it down and share opportunities. And do it because you want to. Be it because you want to do it, not because you feel like you have to do it to get something back. But it's just like it's inside you. It's like breathing.
No, absolutely. All right, so what would you say is more fulfilling? Getting a call from a brand, finishing a job for them, and just being appreciative that they liked you, they liked your style, and they wanted to work with you, or thinking of an idea and finishing it from beginning to end, and it came out exactly how you wanted it to look like? What feels better to you?
I'm gonna go with a wild here.
I was gonna say they're both terrifying. Really? But I'm in a fun mode today too. I thought about this when we're doing this. Depending on whatever energy I'm in is what the cameras is going to get, and the voice and the energy that's going to reflect it. And I'm glad I'm in this mode today. I'm like a really fun kind of goofy mode.
I like these to be fun. I'm not too serious.
And you've been pumping that. You want it to be fun and let the artist show. So y'all see the artist today. But I would say so. The question was like getting the call from like a brand, landing the project,
just being appreciative that they wanted you to do it. They sought you specifically. Or thinking of an idea, you do it from beginning to end, and then when it's the finished product, it's exactly how you envision it.
I would say I'm here harnessing all the words, and I would say like the hearing from like a company or something, and you could join me on this, how I feel like, but hearing from a company or something sometimes gives you a little that validation, that energy, especially when you're excited about it. It gives you that, but it's also like that harnesses like the muse inside you, like because you, especially if they like call you and like, oh man, everything we seen from your Instagram is great, and you look at your Instagram like, oh cool, this is all the stuff that I just like are breathing on. Love all that, and you start feeling like if you could turn water to wine almost. I got that, I can scribble that in and they'll love it. And I've had those moments where it's happened. It's like, oh, they just like my handwriting. I just gotta do my handwriting. That's great, And so that definitely like pumps your ego up. And it
But with that aspect of it is super dope. I think, man, like it's like growing in the work, growing with you. it's kind of more exciting to me, yo. It's like when you have a different, like when you see the work change over time. Like I remember when Rocket was just putting together his flags, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he told me, he was like, yo, I'm working on 3 of these joints. I got 3 new joints coming. Word up. You know what I'm saying? And then sitting in front of them. But it's to me, that's more exciting. Like the companies, yeah, it's going to validate this. Is going to get us, bigger tickets.
Okay.
Always. So you got to have that aspect of it. You want that. You want to continue to put, but the progression of the work is exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to play those roles because as creatives, me and Tony have been able to play in those spaces. I know so many artists are trying to figure out what direction they want to go and then like how they want to, I guess, show and share their craft. And some people have specific ways they want to go. Like I want to do it exactly like this. Follow this roadmap. Let this happen another way. And I found a space in between, like whether it's being the fine art and the graphic artists, and that falls into like both of them fall into you got to figure out how to do your marketing.
Yeah.
And when you go that free agent route, that's the way we see like a lot of musicians go now and stuff, where they can take control of it through their Instagram, through their own social media, and through word of mouth of the people they work with as a client or as a friend, through relationships and all those things, to allow us that space to even grow. Sometimes you'll do something for a brand or company, and once it reaches a certain space, you're like, oh, well, now I gotta make this new thing. That's they're doing this thing. So, and that's what I was like when Tony jumped in, like the ego fills you up, but then you get the confidence to go knock out something like this, and getting the energy from people. Tony sent me some energy while I was working on this, and just like, man, I want to pull you in on this project here if I can do it or not. Like just the words, whether we do it or not, whether it happens, like that belief and that excitement that I was able to send to somebody comes right back.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but it's also fire to get a project that's going to allow, like they said, get a project that's going to allow you to tap into something else, keep the wheels rolling. That's what I mean.
In your experience, is it when someone hires you, do they allow you? I mean, I'm sure they've got some sort of input on it, but do they give you the freedom to
It's got to be that now. Before when getting started, you know what I mean. We were trying to mold. At least I speaking for myself, I was trying to mold in kind of what Rocky was saying. You try to give them what they want, but at the same time now putting your language. I'm understanding as I get a little older and do more work, that putting your language and your stamp on whatever you get is the way. You know what I mean? So at least I'm trying to stay hyper focused on that, not switch up the map.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. All right, so early on in your art career, maybe you had a couple shows in, a couple brands reached out to you. Did you have a group of like-minded artists like yourself that you could reach out to and touch to? And also, did you experience any gatekeeping in the art world where it's you don't know this person, you can't get into this space?
All of that, man. It's funny you asked that because with that last question you were answering, I thought, man, the thing that gets me most excited is when I find new friends. I find new friends that are either doing something kind of close to you so you can like riff back and forth, or they're doing something so opposite, but like it's almost like that missing piece to your symphony that maybe one of you guys are envisioning or both you guys are envisioning. Because sometimes one person got the vision, the other person don't. Sometimes you both have it, and figuring out how to like play together, how to be around each other. Sometimes not even with the art, but just the energy you guys have, the conversation, and the vibes you might pass back and forth. For me, that's a big part of the lifeblood is the community. Like just being able to have like-minded people or people that are just curious like you. That are exploring ideas, whether it's on canvas or do photography or do the words they speak or the ways they want to tell the stories. All of us are artists, being able to see that and know that so that we're comfortable in whatever lane we're in.
Especially in the day and age where there's a lot of samey type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So with the artist community where it's like you meet new folks that's really digging into their thing. You know what I'm saying? You have a whole different vibe. Man, that's fire.
That's good. All right, so growing up, let me rephrase this question. Do you pull more experiences, as far as your art goes and the mindset you're in when you're creating? Is it more so your past, the things that made you to where you are today, or just experiencing life like day to day, or combination of the two?
I mean, it's past, present, future for me. You know what I mean? It's you know, you pulling from, you know, past experience, you're learning, you know, on the curve, you know, you're learning. And I think the present is our prized possession. It's the best thing that we have right now. It's the only thing that we can lead with, you know what I mean? But not lead with, but it's really the only tangible things, the present. You know, so pulling from all three for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say the same thing in some essence. Trying to work on my discipline and lock in and knock out certain like sets of series and ideas a little bit more, depending on the moments in life. Like right now, trying to get some of these in, but at the same time being able to flow between ideas and conversations like this to, you know, in this present moment, you know, doing a few different showings with different places and different stories being told. So being able to take different styles in mind, whether it's a more abstract style or something a little more conceptual, and finding spaces for it. And, which is funny because in creating some of this art, I had the mindset of like, all right, cool. In watching how art and commercialism started mixing together, I started coming up with ideas that I'd seen contemporary artists as I was growing up do, whether it was merchandising certain things and coming up with an idea where it's like, okay, cool, well, I think I can make this into paper towels and drapes and bed sheets. Like this one right here, that's what it is, you know, like I'm making that in the sense that it could be picked up, and I wouldn't mind if it gets picked up and it takes its whole life. Another thing that may like milk water some of the things down in that space, but you allow that to grow that way. Like those seeds are planted to make the fast crops. And then there's other pieces that are more of a slow, hardy oak tree growing, and it's gonna be there. And it's gonna be there years after the house is built and everything. You know, and then there's the other one that gets cut down every year. It's like you gotta have that crop, and that's how I kind of thought of the flow of art through me, at least, that I speak it in different sections and levels and allow it to breathe through my life, as opposed to just like this one sacred coveted thing here. But it's like, okay, we got this here, and then we outside on Skid Row, like inspiring the people out there, like, what's up, here's some paint kits or something, like, what's up, let's draw, let's dance, let's get outside, have fun. Because I think, you know, I think I heard Lauryn Hill say it was like, if you find your gift in life, like, it's your job and duty to like bring that to the world. It's like almost like a smack in the face to God to like not do that. So
exactly.
My life every day of like being able to do it and thinking of it almost as a public service. Like my art is a public service for people to enjoy, and the people that want to keep, the people that are empowered to, they'll throw some more dollars on it or something. That's whatever position you're in. But some people are in the position to watch it and look at it and enjoy it in that way. And we're there for all that because that's how I got here. You know, I wasn't able to buy all the art I consumed. I was able to find them in a book or go to a museum or something, take from what I took. And I feel like my job and our job as artists to be able to fill all of those cups for the people curious for the arts.
One of the things he said that was real ill is just, you know, finding the space, you know, finding the space for, you know, what your interpretations are. So if I say it's, you know, this is my past, my present, my future, you know, trying to find that space to show it and connect it to the people it needs to get connected to, is like, you know, that's part of the work. So that's, you know, that's ill.
Yeah, because people won't find that. I like to say that art might not make sense to you, or a piece might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to somebody. It means something to somebody. So, no, that's dope. I like the way you said that. Okay, so we kind of touched on this a little bit about commercialism, and especially today with the internet, and you've got social media, you got people trying to advertise you. Everything you do, you know, talk, you look at your phone, and you get an advertisement for, you know, whatever you just talked about. You know? So in what way has pop culture influenced your art? Because I would say even more so now than, you know, 20, 30 years ago, it's right in your face every day.
I'll leave with this one right here. I'll be saying stuff I want my phone to like show me. I'm like, man, I need more business education. I need business education, art applications. I'll be saying, and it be showing up now. I'm like, it's like Jeep Cherokee. You know, your phone.
Jeep Cherokee just did.
Yeah.
Now I said it. Now everybody phones when you play this part. Jeep Cherokee gonna send you an advertisement. But
Yo, if I got a Jeep Cherokee link, I'm be tight at him, yo. So he coming up in my profile. Yeah.
But what was the question again?
Pop
Yeah.
the influences out of where you create.
You know, I don't know, man. I think, you know, in our generation, in general, man, like, you know, we came up after, you know, the Warhols and the Basquiats of the world, you know what I'm saying, where they're, you know, where graphic design, where fashion, music, art, it's called all one and the same, you know what I'm saying, at this point. So, you know, I think just getting influenced in terms of putting the work up, man, it's coming from all directions now.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I could probably put on an album and it could be the soundtrack to the work behind me that Rocky's doing. I can connect maybe this work to a specific, you know, artist or musician, whatever that I like. I think it's tightly connected, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, whether we're putting, you know, literal elements and pieces of pop culture in the work, I think it's all influencing everything. The fashion designer's gonna come in and look at this piece. And it's gonna, you know, spark something that's, you know, a garment or whatever the case may be. So that's how I look at it.
It seeps into everything, man. Like it used to be, was a popular culture. It sounded like pop, sound like a little like blast.
Yeah.
It's like atomic or like nuclear culture now. Like that, the way it hits you, like it's like you don't even have to be looking, and it hits you in the back of your head. You get pushed around by
you
the
almost have no
forces.
choice.
You got it. It's I love it, and I love how it infiltrates everything. But I also love how it pushes people to be so different because we have access to so much.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time in my life where I felt like we had like an all-time high of connectivity and an all-time low of like useful content. Like it was like most of the stuff that was coming out was trash.
Oh, that's hard.
It was like maybe like 10 years ago or something. I started noticing. I was like, man, like I could text message Jay-Z right now if I wanted to.
Right.
I could just write him a message. And so we're so connected in so many ways, but I feel like so much like garbage was just coming out. And at this point now, I truly feel like I feel like it's kind of correcting, and we have a lot of amazing things coming out. There's still a lot of trash. There's always going to be, you know. I'm not going to say it's just trash. It's just like different flavors, you know, that don't really sit with me. But there are some things that I think that are just like I believe no ideas. I'll say this: I do my good ideas and my bad ideas, so I don't attack nobody for trying nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like have fun with it.
Okay.
If you thought about it, you thought about it. And I look at some ideas like that was a terrible one, and it caught steam. Whoops! I don't even want to do this anymore. But like I'll do a little bit just because I had the thought.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see this space. It helps you see how people can be a fan of anything. Because I found myself there was a certain point where like 5 years ago where bootleg culture was really big again, and like fake shirts. Like, so it'd be a fake like concert shirt.
Heads, you know what I'm saying?
It'd be like some just like bootleg printing type vibe, but then they would make it cool, you know, or it'd be a reproduction of something you would know it's not official, but it was and I love that feeling because it opened access to everybody. You know? It democratized the game in a certain way where someone that can't buy that super expensive high-end brand piece of clothing is still fashionable. And that was something that came in the wave with the Kanye's and stuff, doing the retail shopping and the discount shopping with polos and stuff.
Oh man, I was just thinking when you said that, I was just thinking the Ralph Lauren, the low tees with the American flag on it, and it's still, and that's 92, right? You know what I'm saying? That's 1992, and then there's a reinvention of that with the work. It's just it's parallel.
It's all in our blood. We've been, you know,
it's DNA,
it's flowing through.
But even with the pop icons, man, like going out and painting in the street, bro. Like I always wanted to put the icons. You know, I put Lisa Bonet from the Cosby Show in the streets, right? Because I thought, like, when you look at these like these pop icons that we get hit with from the other side, we don't have. I want to see my things. You know what I'm saying? I want to see my like things that I know that people, you know, I guess in my hood or general understanding, you know, will be familiarized with. So that's a part of it too, you know.
No, you're right. Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that too, because I've had this conversation with someone before, and just about representation and how it feels to just grow up Black in America. Right? So I grew up in LA in the 90s. Right? So it was, you know, Snoop, Pac, it was Ice Cube.
Mhm.
Then I turn on the TV and it's Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Wayne's Brothers, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, movies, Eddie Murphy was, my favorite actor growing up. So I've always felt like let me rephrase that. I never knew that some people didn't like black people.
Yeah.
Because
It's
everything I
always-
love was
yeah,
black.
yeah, right.
Right.
But you'd be surprised, man. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you'd be
I
surprised.
got older. Yeah.
You'd be surprised who look at something you do and they can find that icon element and they relate to it and they're from a totally different world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just never spoken on or whatever.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a good question. All right.
You gotta give yourself props that way. You're doing all right.
Okay. All right, where we going? Okay, I'm not sure if you guys are involved with NFTs, but I always ask artists this question. All right, I'm a big supporter of art, actual artists making money, in the NFT space, right? But then you've got the Bored Ape, copy paste, people of the world. Do you think that waters down the market for actual artists doing one-of-ones or a series of NFTs when people are buying these, same ape with different clothes on for hundreds of thousands of dollars? It's to me, it's insane.
I'm gonna say something real quick and I'm gonna let you rock, right? But my kids, man, they play Roblox, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're literally in metaverse when they wake up and eat their cereal, you dig? So I don't have pushback. I think it's the way. I think, artists have different languages. They're back in the 90s, there was super whack songs on the radio and there was some dope ones. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So there's always gonna be some super whack art or super terrible art, whatever, or some type of representation that doesn't connect to your space. But there's always gonna be some amazing, stuff. I thought it was amazing that what people did with his NFTs and became an overnight millionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He had been putting in work. He'd been working on self-mastery for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, if you get rewarded in that space, you in one way or another, you're probably deserving of it. You know what I mean? So I'm into all of the new everything. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to find an entry point that's organic and not corny. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where I sit with that.
Okay.
I think it confuses things sometimes, and that's what almost, I guess, any disruptive technology in certain ways, something new. Once people catch wind of it, it definitely is a part of what's happening is the Bored Apes or any of those NFTs that come in a periodical. They're trading cards, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with anything, with trading cards, they get big at some point. Sneakers, big at some point. Are sneakers art? Yeah, they're art. Are they fine art? Sometimes, but for the most part, they're utility items.
Yeah.
And trading cards are a way for people to appreciate the things they care about. A Jordan basketball card still garnishes a whole lot of dough today.
Oh, yeah.
There was a point in time that same Jordan basketball card wasn't worth much at all because people didn't care so much about it. Then as the market picked back up on trading cards, it picked up again. Pokemon cards, my Charizard that I like them bent up the and everything. It was worth a little something back in the day when I got it when I was 20 years ago. It's been 20 years since Pokemon's been out. 25, I think now. So that's been all our childhoods in some way or another. And now to watch, there's a Charizard card. If you got it, it's $3,000. It's what? So I think that same thing as far as there's just a space and there's a lot of people talking and they're attaching words to things. And so it's when you say the Bored Apes is doing a really cool art project. Not really. That's it's a marketing project and it's a baseball card situation they're doing, And at the same space though, again, this NFT to me is a piece of paper. So it's some people take the piece of paper and do something like what Tony's doing. And some people take the piece of paper and they chop it into mad little pieces and they print identical things on them. So, and I'm not really one to say what's art and what's not art, but they're creating something different in a space that's not necessarily fine art. It has its place in space, and history is what it's historically doing to educate us and add to the future because it's a future idea. It's cell phones came out and people were like, that's never gonna work. Who wants to carry around cell phones in their pocket?
Yeah.
Right.
My phone is right here on the wall. This is the cell that I keep it on. Like, that guy sounds like a doorknob now, So the NFT is such a new idea.
Yeah.
And it's something I've known for a while because I've been in the crypto space to
Right.
watch it go from just the idea where only not enough people knew about it for it to be exciting to then so many people finding out about it. And a lot of times the chief marketing officer of most great projects is Cash Money.
Yeah.
So
man.
once people see money get behind a project, they're like, well, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like, how much he sold it for? Everyone's interested then, because
money
that's-
talks.
that's what like some of the creations I make is about. It's like, I had a friend of mine come by and see the artwork, and he had said something about I named it value, this showing of it, and it's about like what we value.
Yeah.
And he said something about how money can trap you. And it's kind of an idea sometimes. Money traps us into thinking something's really important or not important, and not to say they're
It's
wrong
mad
or right.
subjective, right? It's like one of those things where somebody's gonna put a price on it and somebody else is gonna devalue it. It's not gonna be the same price, right? You know what I mean? But
it makes it validates it in certain ways for you to now, being able to say the thing like Beeple did. He did something, and he did something in a space where like I think crypto in general is let's see, what's it accelerated speed market, like accelerated market. So it shows you things happening in real time so much faster than you normally see it in the past with anything as far as like something like stocks would go. It's a lot more volatile. So
But the dopest thing about it is just like how like more people are putting their directionally going to art. That's kind of the illest part about it.
Yeah, it's exciting because it's doing that. But I was saying it was like it's and the reason I say like it's what is it accelerated is because like say Beeple sold something for $69 million. That was $69 million at a certain time in history 2 years ago or whatever it was. Now it might be like 20-something million.
Yeah.
But that's literally how the whole world works. It just usually doesn't work as volatile and as accelerated, but it's helping. I think it's helping paint a clear picture of like what the world really is, because sometimes things are just moving too slow because you're not connected to the actual source. They're so disconnected from the source that they have a little latency, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I think we're going through times where it's like, you have depressions or recessions or whatever it is, that you see things drop drastically from one day to another, when it's like that's always happening, but it's enough speed behind it for it to level out before they show you the actual value.
Yeah, that's true.
But in reality, things change like this, where it's like, the interest rates was 10% lower last week, and now it's 10% higher. Or you go to the supermarket, you're paying double for the chicken. And so we all feel it, but it just usually moves slower in our lives. But
another thing that's really fire about the NFT space, right? It's just like, I think we're at a place in time where, just as black folks, we're exchanging and we don't want to miss the boat no more on things. You know what I'm saying? So when the NFTs hit, man, I had a couple of homies call me. He's like, yo, Sonia, you gotta, at least look into this, stick your head in, and figure out, because, as a traditionalist, I'm laser focused on what I'm doing at the moment, right? Yeah. But I think, the dialogue and the open conversation and getting people more enough to stay current and on the trends, and I'm just seeing a vibe, you know what I'm saying, with that. And I don't want us to get 86 out of no space no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's creators and originators, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking right now, at least with all of these, with everything going so crazy, at least there's peak interest in it, from our perspective. Hopefully we can jump in and get our stories and our art and our situation embedded in it in the early stages. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No. So that's why you gotta encourage everybody to just stay normal. Because I try to tell the homies, everybody, Mom Dukes, you know what I'm saying? Might know the end, she's like, what?
Tell everybody what it is. Tell everybody. Yeah. No, I get that. No, that's good. Yeah, because I feel like it took a little while for it to catch on within the community. You know what I mean? Like there were some people on top of it right away. Some people not too sure about what's going on, but like you said, it's at the very least worth checking out. Right. Worth seeing if this is something you want to be involved in. Yeah.
Yo, Dame Dash said something ill the other day. You heard Dame was talking. He was like, NFTs are like the big brick cell phone right now. You know what I'm saying? If you look at, that's how they are right now. You know what I mean? But then in my pocket, I got a whole computer now. You know what I'm saying? So it's in that budding stage, man. So
it's still evolving.
It's still evolving.
Great phone.
All right. All right. Well, I don't want to take too much more time up. You guys have been so gracious to sit here with me, and you know it's a little hot in here. But I want to leave on this last question. All right. What's one piece of advice you would give to an up and coming artist that you wish someone had told you in the beginning stages of your career?
Don't do it.
Yeah. Be a rapper. Nah, I'm gonna say, be a tree that continues to produce fruit. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was tight. That was concise. Man, can I say something tight, tight like that?
Now that was an OG artist and a close friend of mine that's killing it, Steven Still. He told me that, and that shit stuck to me. So I tell that to everybody, man. Just be a tree that continues.
Yeah, I like that.
He's producing. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. I don't even think I got to go that was I'll see if I can elaborate on it anyway. But that's the general idea. Is, you know, figure out build a foundation of people around you. Maybe a sort of a plan of how you deal with things in the good and the bad times, like a system and a schedule almost.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you normally do stuff, figure out some way to, if you get off track, because as artists, you know, we're pretty free flowing with our schedule sometimes.
Yeah.
So like figure out a way to pull it back, rein it back in, get back to your basics, whatever it is that helps you get to wherever you're at. Because it's creative. Sometimes we get swooped up in our own creativity and our schedule changes so much that for like 3-4 months we're doing things a completely different way than we've ever done it.
Yeah.
And then when things slow down again, you kind of forget, like, well, how did I even get here? How did I get to doing this? Like, you look back and you go back in your sketchbook and you see the where you were going and what you were doing every day to reach the point you were before you ended up in the whirlwind.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd say either keep people around you or some way for you to get back on track. That lighthouse, you know, to keep you going in the right direction, because you can get spun a lot of directions, and a lot of times, a lot of them won't be the right one.
And real quick, the last one is your thoughts have power, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Master your mind, yo. Your thoughts have power. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that.
No, that's right. All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Tony, very nice to meet you. Nice Robert. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.